Hello and welcome to Future Horizons, the Tempest podcast. I'm your host, Zevi Watmough. The UK government estimates that UK defence spending supports around 434,000 highly skilled and well-paid jobs in all regions and nations of the UK. Despite this, the national skills shortage remains a critical challenge in the defence sector, with the House of Commons Defence Committee report on GCAP stating that recruiting and retaining a suitably sized and skilled workforce is the programme's biggest challenge. In this episode, we look at what Team Tempest and the development of the UK's Future Combat Air System capability has to offer suitably qualified, experienced professionals, and why a career in the UK aerospace industry should be of interest to people of all ages and skill sets. Here to discuss this topic are Sarah, BAE Systems Skills Future Supply Integration Lead, MJ, UK MOD People Leader, John, MBDA Sales and Business Development Executive, FCAS. So we've always described Team Tempest as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to shape the future of combat air. Sarah, coming to you first, why is combat air and the wider defence sector such an exciting industry to work in?
Well, I think given the programme that we're working on at the moment, Zevi, the Team Tempest programme, I think we're obviously working towards the first 6th-gen aircraft in the UK, which is exciting in itself, but it's a long programme and therefore it impacts all generations, and potentially some of those generations will get to see the end product, which is exciting in itself because it's not often these days that you would get to see the end product being delivered. So that's probably one of the first points. I think also it's exciting because it utilises the most modern technologies at the moment as well, helping us to maintain critical sovereign skills to the UK, which obviously in turn is ensuring military capability and freedom of action and modification as well. So being part of combat air as a whole and as part of Team Tempest, I think the impact on the future of combat air by utilising the skills that you have and playing a part in this is you're putting the UK on the map. You're developing and creating the next aviation icon, so it's something to be proud of. Lots of things, lots of new exciting technologies, lots of things that you can get involved in. I think it's just a really good opportunity.
MG, the MOD has got an incredible heritage, an incredible background, but it is important that today's generation view it as a real prospect for their future careers. Why do you think this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity?
I mean, Tempest and the Team Tempest is so different from the programs and the projects we've done before. We're learning the lessons of past procurement, but also it's this amazing new partnership we're in. I was on holiday, I was in Tokyo, and I saw one of our partner companies in Japan had their big advertising hoarding, and I walked through and I bounced up and I turned to my husband and I was like, there's one of our aircraft. Yes. It's not just about the new technology and the new skills, and it's not just about the UK. It's this exciting opportunity to work with new countries in a new way. Everything about this program is innovation. The technology blows my mind. I am not an engineer, and I get the absolute privilege of going out to the companies and seeing some of the technology, and it's so exciting. But I equally go and talk to our project managers, and the way that we are managing this program is different. The way we think about the digital engineering is different. The way we work as a team is different. Everything about this is innovation. That is so exciting to be part of. And it's a program that's going to run through the rest of my career and will run for generations after that. To be at the foundations of that, to think that you're joining this amazing heritage, but that projects into the future, you can't be excited.
John, this is a futuristic programme. Can you help us understand why it's once-in-a-generation tech that these people are going to be dealing with?
Yeah, I think this is the first time a lot of these things have been tried, with it being a 6th-generation aircraft. And especially, looking at that question you asked at the beginning with why Future Combat Air is such an exciting place to work, it is... it's because really in defence aviation, I think that's really in many ways near the pinnacle of engineering, in that there isn't really any wasted space in an aircraft. Everything has to earn its way onto it. And so all of these people working on the programme are working at the very cutting edge of what we're trying to achieve. So with this 6th gen platform, we're going to be trying new ways of putting the sensors and the effectors together, new ways of controlling the engines and the flying control system, new ways of manufacturing all of that together. And also, as MJ said, we're doing it in a really exciting cultural environment with these 3 partner nations and just trying to do everything differently. So whilst, there's a lot of exciting areas in the world you can work, I think defence technology and especially defence aerospace is very much at the cutting edge. So that's what I think should make it attractive for people to come and work here.
So we often talk about Tempest being a transformational programme, and one way that's being demonstrated is through the adoption of new digital processes and embracing exciting new technologies that perhaps aren't traditionally associated with the sector. John, can you describe how we're tapping into these technological advances and how we're using them to work more quickly and effectively?
Sure. So the program's really leaning on digital modelling throughout its life cycle. Firstly, in this design and concepting phase, to really work through what are the best design decisions to make around the aircraft and the platform and the system overall to make it as effective as possible. And then also, as it goes into the design and manufacturing stage, leaning it heavily again on digital architecture to enable us to share all of this between the 3 nations. There's a lot of information and data goes into how to build this program. So that needs to be shared effectively. And the quicker and more effective we can do that means we can manufacture this in new ways in the 3 different countries and bring it all together a lot quicker. We then look at if we go further down the life cycle, it's how we can use digital engineering and digital integration to ensure that we can keep the maintenance costs as low as possible, make the aircraft as serviceable as possible, and also integrate effectors as quickly and cheaply as possible, and allow us to keep spirally upgrading the capability of the platform so that we can keep up with the pacing threats that we'll face in the future.
So MJ, John has described some of this advanced tech, and it's not a technology that we're going to be using in splendid isolation. We're going to have to master the tech and connect with colleagues overseas and get the tech to speak to them as well. How are you going to give people a sense of empowerment and motivation to get over that barrier of getting to grips with new technology, but also the cultural barriers of connecting technologically?
I think one of the advantages we have is being able to take technologies from other industries. So I remember the first time I saw a soldier on operations using what looked like a PlayStation games controller, and it felt instinctive. There's been a huge amount of effort had gone into that technology, and you now look at how we create the interface for people to work with, and we do take that experience from places like the gaming industry, where that use of technology just becomes natural. And I think that's a great part of FCAS, is that we're learning from other sectors, we're learning from other industries, as well as developing the skills that we need within ourselves. People that are joining defence today comes with much greater comfort for the technology than I have by instinct, and I've had to build my own skills in this. One of the things I relish in government is the training available. I came into defence without a real background in many of these subjects, and the department has invested massively in me. They've invested from a master's program at the Royal College of Defence Studies through to bite-sized learning that I will do most weeks to increase my digital understanding and my digital skills. And that kind of commitment to learning and development is just embedded within the culture, and that gives people much more ability to move with the technologies as they come forward.
Sarah, that technological fluency that MJ is talking about, tell us how you're approaching this in terms of bringing people with you when you're talking about digital transformation.
Yeah, so I think obviously, the world's getting more digitalised and more automated. But I think for me, from a skills perspective, it's more around the people as well. So ensuring that we've got the right experienced people with the right skills to help deliver what we're trying to deliver. Having that out from the outset is obviously helps to avoid costly mistakes and timely mistakes. And these experienced people that are delivering the programmes, they're not only delivering a product at the end of the day, but they're also preparing the next generation of experienced people that are then going to come in and take over from them in years to come. It's a long programme, it's a long business that we're in as well. So by using that knowledge transfer, that in itself is a skill that we do need, is bringing that knowledge in. So it's not just about the technology for me, it's very much about the people that are delivering as well.
And in terms of everything about the way we collaborate and share information and integrate teams is changing. Sarah, staying with you, can you share some of the adaptive approaches you're taking to draw in new talent? It's touching on what MJ said earlier about gaming. It's actually things like gaming conventions can be a rich seam of introduction, if you like.
So within the programme itself, we've got a number of initiatives that we are looking at the moment. For in particular, things like the Early Careers Network. We've got 750 people currently across our Early Careers Network that are collaborating together across partnerships. So not just from one business, from all the different partners, working together, sharing their skills and developing themselves for the future, as well as, putting their selves out there to make new contacts to help their career paths for the future as well. We've also got secondments across the enterprise, similar to the Early Careers Network. We've also got secondments where people can experience different skill sets across the patch. We're looking at things about how to focus on knowledge transfer from experts to novice within our environment. And I think overall as well, it's a good supportive environment to work in. A lot of people think of the environment of an engineering manufacturing type business as something from the 1950s where everyone's siloed away. It's not, it's very collaborative. You're encouraged, and especially in the type of programme that we're in, you're exposed to quite a lot of different skill sets across the patch. So a project manager could be working with an engineer, you can see what they're doing, and you might realise, actually, that's something that I'm really interested in. It's something that I've got a skill that I could use there as well. And yes, I started as a project manager, but actually I'm more interested in doing that role now. So you've got that opportunity and you're exposed to those different skills that are out there and the opportunity to move, and it's actively progressed as well, to be able to pursue a career in something that you're interested in and then keen to give your all in the future.
And John, it feels as if it's altogether a more progressive environment because you've got multidisciplinary teams working in parallel, so covering electronic software engineering, all working side by side. Can you share a bit more about this kind of activity?
Speaking from what I've seen at the MBDA team, we've been using the Tempest program and GCAP as a way of exposing different people in the company to what's going on in the sort of sixth generation space, and it's a really good opportunity for them to get involved in it and see whether, and they see the other disciplines working, as Sarah has said, and they either take that back to another program and they have an awareness of what's going on within GCAP Tempest, and that means the work they do, they'll make sure it takes that into account, or they actually find that they really love working in this environment on this sort of once in a generation chance to shape a new platform. And we find a niche or a part of the program that they can work on, and often they end up sort of working on in one role for a year or so, and then maybe they move into an adjacent role within the program, and also there are secondments within the different partners, so it gives people a chance to be exposed to new skills and to maybe other projects and things they hadn't thought about. So we found it really useful, and we've had nothing but good feedback about it.
MJ, the way people approach their career growth and development can be different culturally from one organisation to another. Can you share the MOD view on career paths, career development?
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about skills. I mean, I have come from a background away from a lot of the capability space, but it's still the same skills. It is still the ability to distill complicated technical information for non-specialist audiences. It's still the ability to construct a business case, explain our work to the public, support ministers in making decisions and present options to them. And those skills we develop throughout our time in the department. And it's that combination of formal training that I've talked about, but a very strong culture of informal training, mentoring, looking at your career as building this broad base of skills that you take to the next level. And so people are encouraged to actively move between different areas of the program or even different programs. And that mindset of looking at how somebody has developed holistically is very much part of the sort of Ministry of Defence development way. The opportunities now for formal development as well, just unbelievable. I look at my team and I look at the digital qualifications that people are working towards, the number of apprentices we have. It is rare for somebody in our team to not undertaking some type of professional development, training and development course at any given time.
And a really fascinating angle of that, MJ, is the fact that for the first time, Italy, Japan and the UK are going to be working together side by side. And can you describe some of the fascinating opportunities that could be coming up by virtue of that fact?
Yeah, I mean, the opportunity to work alongside colleagues from another country is one of the real joys of the defence sector. So much of what we do is collaborative, so much of what we do is international partnership. And we always have to think of how the capabilities we'll be developing are going to work in cooperation, in coalition with partners. And so from day one, I mean, I think I'd been in the programme less than a week and I found myself sitting in meetings with my colleagues from Italy and Japan. And you had to understand what were the drivers for them. How can I build a connection with people who come from quite a different background? And that's a privilege. It's a challenge, but it's a privilege. And it's something we actively work on. So again, we offer cultural awareness training so people have a sense of that, but we try and put time and space for people to speak to each other, get to know each other. The headquarters for the GCAP intergovernmental organisation in Reading is a fascinating environment to go into, where you watch the Brits in there, our Italian and our Japanese partners, all learning little bits about each other and all working together. And we're ending up with this really exciting space that has a mixture of all three cultures coming together and all of us learning from each other. It's been one of the really exciting parts of the programme for me.
Absolutely. And John, you only have to look at the incredible aircraft produced by different countries to understand that they have a different vision. How do you feel people have the potential to not just challenge themselves, but elevate their abilities through this cross-cultural working?
I know we're sort of looking at building the future, and I'm many years away from further through my career than a graduate or apprentice. But even within MBDA, I've been given the opportunity to do some Japanese language lessons, and that's been it's really quite enlightening. Just I get the chance to learn through online material and with a tutor once a week, and there's two things which come out of it. One is just actually getting your learning how a different language, a sort of non-Latin based language, and how it's structured. It actually sometimes then enables you to make sense of, people have a different way of thinking if they use a different language, right? So if you can understand that language, you begin to appreciate the way they're thinking and why maybe something's phrased the way it is. And then the other thing is the sort of one-on-one lessons is learning all of the cultural lessons from someone who, my tutor is American born, but had a Japanese parent and went to try and live in Japan, and learned so many cultural lessons. And I'm sort of getting to learn from all the mistakes that he made when he moved there. And it's really, again, I think those opportunities to learn how another culture operates, what they value, and how really close we are, even though it may not seem it, is valuable for anyone on the programme to really grab with both hands and try and take.
We've talked about innovation so much in this, and I think that's in part where it comes from. You talk about if you speak another language, you might think differently. That's not seen as a challenge in this programme. That is seen as a positive benefit. That diversity of thought, a new way of looking at a problem, and taking the best of all of that thinking. Taking any problem, rotate it through 90 degrees, see if it looks different. That is just the core values of this programme. And the fact that you are learning Japanese is amazing. I've learned a tiny bit of Italian. It's truly dreadful, the small bit of Italian I've learned. That's really exciting for people. And that's that fundamental belief of this programme of think differently, challenge yourself. It just makes it so exciting to work on.
Sarah, how has that diversity of thought that you access through cross-cultural working inspired you to date?
Well, just from personal experience, so I was lucky enough as part of my role to visit Japan, and it's formed the basis of my relationship now with the partners we've got out there, because it was the first time we've met them. It's the first time I've been to Japan, and sitting in a room there with both a Japanese and Italian, you've got two very diverse cultures there and us sat in the middle, and it's trying to balance everybody's needs at once. And I think the communication skills and learn how to adapt those communication skills that you have, and understanding that the way you communicate is not the only way everybody else in the world communicates, is a massive skill that you can learn that will benefit you for life in anything that you do. You learn how the Japanese react to certain ways, and you learn how the Italians react to certain ways, and you work together to benefit. For example, an example that we were taught is when you go out there, if you go to Japan, take time to look at business cards. It means something to the Japanese, whereas in the UK, we'll take a business card and put it in our purses. And I think little things like that can impact the way you work with your partners and customers for the future, because little mistakes like that could completely change your relationships. And it's just something that I really enjoyed it myself. That's probably been one of my favourite parts of my role is learning those different skills and things like that. And the relationships we've now got with our partners and customers from that side is so much better than it could have been if we didn't have that cultural awareness at the start and that exposure to it. So definitely something that has been the highlight of what I've been doing.
And what makes this programme quite groundbreaking is it's not just going to be cross-cultural, it's going to be cross-generational. So some of the people who are working on this programme won't see it through to its fruition. In fact, there could be children attending school right now who could end up working on the programme. John, how do you hope to inspire young people in the future to become the custodians of the incredible knowledge that's being gathered right now?
I think it's by, first of all, this great, this programme putting out an incredible product that we can all be proud of, and keep inspiring them by having a positive and sort of novel approach to everything we're doing, and not just doing things the way we've always done them. By keeping it truly inspirational. And I think this program, it's knowledge is a relay race, right? We all stand on hundreds of and thousands of generations of knowledge of people who've gone before us, and this is kind of one of these metaphorical batons, right, where it's a chance for us to pass that knowledge on to the next generation. And I think it's a really iconic thing that we can do in as part of this enterprise within these three partner nations to pass that on to our next generation.
Sarah, how are you hoping to generate excitement so that we can ensure that young people have an early awareness of the importance of the work they could be doing in the future?
I think so. We're trying to engage as much as possible with the younger generations, because obviously they are going to be part of the programme going forward, given its longevity. They're the ones that are going to have the opportunity to shape the programme. So it's making them aware that, you're not just delivering something, you're actually going to be part of shaping this product. And it's something that, they'll be taking a legacy with them, or they'll be leaving a legacy, I should say. They get to watch how the technology evolves over time, and we've got a bigger focus then on future skills as well, and looking at how with those younger generation we can bring in what future skills are out there and get them developed on things like that. I think as well it's more touching on what we said earlier in the conversation around making the younger generation realise that engineering's not just hammering a nail into something, it's something that they're doing in everyday life at the moment. So making them aware of that, developing those skills that they've got, but also making it inspiring, like John said, making it something that they are interested in and making it attractive to them. So obviously we're doing a lot of STEM opportunities through education, work experience, things like open days, anything like our apprenticeships. Obviously apprenticeship schemes are a massive hit, and they provide amazing opportunities for younger generations to get in. But I think we just need to keep on ensuring that the skills that we need for the future are the ones that we're inspiring the younger generation to get involved in, and just develop as much as they can do with them.
MJ, some of the technology that's going to be developed in the future, there's no way we can fully know or even predict what exactly that will be. But what do you think are some of the timeless qualities that you would hope to see in young people today that will be a key differentiator to the future of the programme?
It's a mindset of curiosity and a wish to challenge yourself. You come into these programs because we talked about spiral development. It's because you want to keep seeing innovation. You want to keep seeing that incremental gains, that refinement. You have to come with a endless curiosity about what else can you do? It's a huge breadth of skills we're looking for, but all of them have to have that curiosity about what more can I do in my program. There's also something about, for those of us that work in national security, that I could go and work anywhere. I work in national security as a field because it's something I believe in. And I've had the immense privilege to be deployed on operations alongside the armed forces, where you see really much closer than most people ever will what our armed forces do and what they deliver for us. This is a chance to give them the tools to deliver that safety and security for all of us. That belief in the defence and in the security of the UK, our people, our values, that's something that's fundamental about coming to work on these programmes. And it's why many of us stay in these programmes. It's not just the exciting technology, it's a belief in what we do.
MJ, Sarah and John, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts today. Join us next time on Future Horizons when we explore why a sovereign combat air capability is strategically important to our nation's international ambitions.